Starting at address, Robert has very, very neutral sort of lines here. I really like how he has a bit of like curve to his upper back. I think that's like quite old school and actually just puts you in a relaxed position to make a big turn from. People would say that that almost looks wrong or hunched, but actually, if you look at the all-time greats, pretty much all of them stood this way. He has really, really straight legs, very neutral pelvis. I really like this setup. I definitely would try and get people more into this sort of posture as opposed to like a super athletic posture with a bit more knee bend and a bit of a straighter back. I think this is like exactly what the sort of mid-handicap average golfer can get into. In his takeaway, MacIntyre takes the club basically straight backwards. And in doing that, it appears that the club face is really closed. But all that's happened is his left hand has stayed on top on the way back, and which gives the appearance of the shut face. But his wrist angles are still actually really neutral. So I think what we'll see as he gets to the top is actually a pretty square club face. I love how wide this is. I love how simple it is. It literally looks like he's decided to take the club back on just a straight line. Looks like that's probably what you've been taught from the word go, and actually it sets him up really nicely in the backswing. By halfway back, he's almost got a full 90-degree shoulder turn. I really like this. It just shows how much he's winding up. We're going to start to see as he reaches the top, a bit of a gap between his knees. He's straightened his left leg. He's got loads of flex in that right knee. I really like the feeling for people to try and get their front knee over their toes as opposed to bringing it across. I think this encourages a bigger hip turn, which in turn just helps everything else in the backswing. As we get to the top, we see this really good flat lead wrist that's square to the club face. So the club face wasn't really closing this takeaway. It was just he kept his trail hand on top for ages, which is absolutely fine. If I just draw your attention to his lead foot, what we can see is as he reaches the top of his swing, his heel actually comes off the ground slightly, and that's not because he's moved off the ball and it's necessary to lift that heel, but because he's turned his hips so much and therefore turned his shoulders so much, actually the foot actually has to start to lift up, just as a matter of he's not flexible enough to keep it down. So if you're turning centered like Robert is here, massive hip turn, straight trail leg, and in doing that your lead heel comes up, that's absolutely fine. I don't really like it when people artificially lift their heel up and that shifts them away off the ball. But if you're just turning so far that you reach the end of your range of motion and the heel just comes up, then that's absolutely fine. Now, as we start down, you can just sort of see how quickly he puts pressure in back down through that heel. His hands haven't even gotten below his shoulders by the time he's squashed that can. You can actually see how his shoes are under tension in that right foot, which is incredible. He's putting 150% of his weight through that right foot. He's creating loads of pressure, and this is what's going to allow him to turn really hard through the ball. Now, because he has this square face at the top of the swing, good lead wrist, good square face, he actually shallows the club slightly on the way down and gets that club behind him. We get into that position where the club head runs directly up the trail forearm, which is perfect. The club face is pretty square, which we like. Now, interestingly, one of the things that Bob does in the downswing, which I think actually is like a secret shallow move that you could copy, is he tilts his head backwards. So you can sort of see as he swings down into the ball, that head drops down behind and actually twists. So for a right-handed golfer, that would mean moving your chin from towards the target and moving your ear towards your trail shoulder. Now, that might look pretty strange and feel strange, but that will always shift your swing path from the outside to the inside. Now, we'll never know why MacIntyre's developed this move in his swing, but what we do know is that allows him to keep the club behind his hands into delivery, which is like absolutely perfect there. And it allows him to probably hit that draw and hit it really powerfully. Another thing that we see from this sort of forward low angle that we don't often see, because we don't often look at swings from here, is his trail arm. Look at how his trail arm is bent here. And look how quickly it reaches full extension by the time he's just after the ball's gone. That is a massive amount of trail arm sort of punch. You know, it's a massive throw. Those people who are saying keep your arm, you know, try and take your arms out of it, that is not what these players are doing. He's like loaded that trail arm and then he throws it. It's massive extension in that such a short period of time. That's where power is. So much of our power comes from our arms. You can have the best body action in the world, but if you don't release the club, then you never get that power out of your body into the ball, and that is all going to come from your arms. So we go from bent trail arm to fully extended trail arm, and actually look at how much Bob's face has turned over in such a short amount of time. Again, people would say that that's maybe a flip. I would actually just say that that's just like a full release. He's not a massive bloke. He's not blessed with like massive Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka genetics. If he wants to hit the ball far, he's got to throw himself at it. So that comes from good wrist angles at the top, getting the club behind him in the downswing, and then throwing it as hard as he possibly can with his arms and his hands at the bottom. From there, obviously we talked about that head tilt. This position looks a little bit untidy with his trail leg and his head so low, but then he's up and finishing into a good position. This position here, the ball's long gone at this stage. It doesn't really matter. It's more just for style points. Would he ever sort of decide to clean that up? But he's a PGA Tour player, so don't know why he would ever do that. And it's in this position you can really see. Look at where his head is there. Look at the angle of which his head is there. You just don't see that very often. But again, that head tilt of chin to target, trail ear to trail shoulder, that's going to help you shallow out. It's going to help you drop it on the inside. And that's actually like a little secret move that people don't really know or talk about. But this is a great golf swing. There's loads of stuff in here for the mid-handicapper to try and learn from and emulate. You know, starting with like that good classic posture, getting that club head outside the hands with the face square on the way back, little head tilt to shallow the club on the way down, and then that full throw on the way through. And this is a great swing, and I've no doubt that we'll see more of Bobby Mack on the PGA Tour and picking up trophies soon.
Thanks very much for watching the videos. If you can please like and comment to boost the engagement, and subscribe if you don't already, that'd be great. If you like what I put out in these videos, you like what I say about technique, I can actually help you with your game no matter where you are in the world. So if you just want to click the link in the bio, it'll take you to Skillist, which is an online coaching platform, and there you can look to see what I do, and actually I can help you with your game. So analyze your swing, give you some drills and tips to help you improve, so we can work together to help you lower your handicap. But anyway, let's get back to the video.